A new movie about Michael Jackson hit controversy before it even hit theaters. It seems that we can't collectively decide what the King of Pop's legacy should be. This week I'll try and moonwalk you through the dubious details. I'm Larry Fedoruk, and this is Later That Same Life. On each episode of my weekly podcast, a different topic, discussion, commentary, or story from our lives.
Season 20, Chapter 8, Michael Jackson.
We are approaching the 17th anniversary of the passing of Michael Jackson, 17 years ago. Michael died June 25, 2009, at age 50, from acute propofol intoxication. Propofol is an extreme anesthetic used in major surgeries. It's nicknamed milk of amnesia. The propofol compounded by other sedatives which resulted in cardiac arrest. His death was ruled a homicide. Michael's personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was eventually found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, sentenced to 4 years in prison, served 2. Though his medical license was revoked across several U.S. states, he currently practices medicine and treats patients out of his practice in Trinidad and Tobago. Remarkable. Of note, Michael Jackson's June 25, 2009 death was the same day that Farrah Fawcett died. It was a Thursday. Michael died about 12 hours after Farrah, and his death overshadowed hers on various news cycles in the following days. There is a celebrity hierarchy, even in death.
Update you now on tonight's breaking news. Multiple media outlets are now reporting that pop singer Michael Jackson has died. Jackson was not breathing when paramedics arrived at his home after a 911 call. We are watching for any new developments on this breaking news. We will bring them to you as soon as we learn them. 2009
is historical for the number of celebrity passings. Farrah, Michael, Patrick Swayze, Brittany Murphy, David Carradine, B. Arthur, Ricardo Montalban, Dom DeLuise, John Hughes, Ted Kennedy, Walter Cronkite, Les Paul, Ed McMahon, even OxyClean pitchman Billy Mays. And that's just a partial list. Plus, if you remember Thanksgiving weekend 2009, that's when the Tiger Woods stuff hit the fan. The marital spat, the infidelities, and so on. 2009, the inauguration of Barack Obama, the global swine flu pandemic, the miracle on the Hudson, Tiger Woods exposed, yet remembered by many as the year that Michael Jackson died. Such was the extent of his fame, some might say infamy. The new movie is simply called Michael, directed by Antoine Fuqua, famous for directing such box office giants as King Arthur, The Magnificent Seven remake, The Equalizer, and the highly acclaimed Training Day. Michael is a biographical scripted film. We call them biopics, and it follows a long line of like films. Actors portraying music stars like Ray Charles, Jim Morrison, Johnny Cash, Freddie Mercury, Elvis Presley, Elton John, Bob Dylan, Buddy Holly, Tina Turner, The Beatles, and many more. In this movie, Michael is played by 29-year-old Jafar Jackson, who allegedly beat out over 200 other potential candidates. Even though Jafar is the son of Jermaine Jackson, Michael was his uncle, and this marks Jafar's film debut. From the very beginning, this project had the complete endorsement and active involvement of the Michael Jackson estate. 2 of the co-executors of the estate acted as producers on the film. They vetted the script, and apparently Michael's son Prince was on the set every day to serve as a supervisor. By the way, Prince is pushing 30, if you just want to take a second to appreciate the passage of time. Here's where the controversy of this Michael film comes in. The original script, and remember, this was vetted and approved by the Jackson estate, but that original script had the film opening with the 1993 police raid of Michael's Neverland Ranch. And the film's third act extensively dealt with the controversy surrounding accusations of sexual abuse involving minors. How exactly it presented this issue is unclear, but it was in the movie.
Let's listen now briefly to Sheriff Jim Anderson.
Yesterday morning at around 8:30 a.m., investigators from the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department, Santa Barbara District Attorney's Office, served a search warrant at Neverland Ranch in Los Olivos. The service of the warrants was part of an ongoing investigation alleging criminal misconduct on the part of Michael Jackson. The basis for this investigation regarding Mr. Jackson involves allegations of child molestation, 288A of the California Penal Code.
According to the showbiz paper Variety, the dialogue mentioned Jordan Chandler, one of Michael's underage molestation accusers. It was reported that after filming was completed, the Jackson estate noticed a clause in a previous agreement, a 1994 document signed by both the Chandler family and the Jackson estate, saying that Jordan Chandler, then 13 years old, could not be mentioned in any future film projects. Yeah, I guess that's a real thing. Sounds very suspicious, though. Sounds like they're saying, yeah, we, the Jackson estate, would love to delve into Michael's pedophilia problem, but, our hands are tied. Sorry. This discovery necessitated that several scenes be reshot, which they were over 22 days last June at a cost of millions of dollars, between 10 and 15 million. That cost overrun apparently covered by the Jackson estate. This also delayed the film's release. It was supposed to be late last year. Now it's April of this year. Incidentally, Jordan Chandler has not made any comments about this, and in fact has been fairly quiet about this topic for the last 30 years. This new movie now has a new ending. It ends on an inspiring note, near the end of the 1980s and the Bad Tour. Now no mention at all of the darker side of the Michael story. Critics then began calling the biopic a puff piece, and pardon the expression, a whitewash of the difficult topics and areas of Michael's life. Antoine Fuqua and the producers have been forced to defend this decision, saying that the positive portrayal of Michael's life is simply a part one, and that a future film would complete the story. I guess we can believe that if we want. After all, it's not like we don't know that there was another side behind all the glamour and the sequins. There have been literally dozens of Michael Jackson documentaries over the years, including Leaving Neverland and Michael Jackson Chasing the Truth. Some of these documentaries detailed at least a half a dozen different accusers.
The Jackson family firing back, saying explosive claims of sexual abuse in the film Leaving Neverland never happened. In their first response since the documentary's premiere, the family calls it a public lynching made by those not interested in the truth.
This new film, again, is a biopic, sanctioned and supervised by the Jackson estate. Would we really expect anything dark and gritty? And by the way, the movie trailers, they look well enough, I guess. Jafar Jackson seems to do a nice job as Michael. What I don't understand is why they went to all the trouble of recreating frame by frame some of Michael's most famous performances. Sure, the scenes of that Motown 25 number where Michael introduces the moonwalk, they are impeccable. Thing is, we already have footage of the real Michael doing the real moonwalk, and it's easily accessible to millions. Why would you get an actor and a director to just make a copy of that? Just go to YouTube, see the real thing. Interesting side note, Mike Myers makes a cameo in this Michael movie as a real-life CBS record executive. Noteworthy because he also cameoed as a fictional record executive in Bohemian Rhapsody, the Queen movie. Listen, all biopics are biased accounts, but with this latest Michael, we have only a half-told story. This is what I mean. It seems we're unsure as to what his legacy is supposed to be. A brilliant artist, singer, dancer, entertainer, memorable songs, or child abuser, pedophile. Of course, both things can be true at the same time. We can even offer up excuses for his behavior. Oh, he was a child star, robbed of a real childhood, forced to always perform under the watchful and demanding eye of a controlling and abusive father. Okay, yeah, well, maybe that's why when you get some money of your own, you buy yourself a ranch and call it Neverland, and you stock it with giraffes and elephants and a chimp named Bubbles. I always say that if money were not an issue, how weird and how eccentric would any of us become? We wouldn't be pedophiles, but we might otherwise push the boundaries of crazy, but weird and eccentric was only part of it. Even the pedophilia might be categorized as a mental disorder, but that would be by way of understanding it, not as an excuse, or for that matter, repainting a legacy. For those of us old enough, it was interesting to watch the rise of Michael Jackson. We had a good 25 years before the madness cut in. Here's some of the highlights. Famously, the Jackson 5, under the command of their manager and father, Joe Jackson, strict disciplinarian and poster boy for bad stage father, made their New York debut on amateur night at Harlem's famous Apollo Theater. It was in 1967. They were quickly signed to the booming Motown Records, joining a roster that included the Supremes, Temptations, Four Tops, Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder, Gladys Knight, so many more. Michael was 9 years old. Their first big hit followed within about a year, I Want You Back. The more they toured and appeared on TV, it was clear that the diminutive Michael was the star. The Jackson 5 had many hit songs. Jermaine Jackson had his own successful singles, but it was Michael who emerged with solo hits like Got to Be There, Rockin' Robin, and Ben. By the mid-70s, there was a popular musical that was on Broadway. It was called The Wiz. The Wiz was a reimagining of the Wizard of Oz story as a soul R&B musical with an all-black cast, paralleling the original story with African-American struggles in the U.S. When it came time to make the movie, Diana Ross was cast as Dorothy and Michael Jackson as the Scarecrow. This is important in the history of Michael Jackson because the supervising musical producer of The Wiz was the legendary Quincy Jones. This in many ways was a chance encounter that went on to change music history. It was Quincy Jones who saw the even bigger musical potential of Michael Jackson. It was he that recommended they work together, which they did on Michael's album Off the Wall, released in 1979. A massive hit. Number one singles included Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Rock With You, Off the Wall, and She's Out of My Life. It was the first solo album ever on the Billboard Hot 100 charts to have 4 hit singles, certified 9 times platinum. If Michael was already a superstar, this kicked him up into another level, mega star. Over the next decade, there were the albums Thriller, Bad, Dangerous, all at least as big as the one before. In between, in random order, there was the famous Thriller video, the Motown 25 performance with the moonwalk, the 1984 Pepsi Super Bowl commercial where Michael's hair caught fire, the We Are the World song and video, the first of its kind Super Bowl halftime show, the Jackson's Victory Tour. Remember that? That was all of the brothers led by the success of Michael, a 55-stadium date tour across the U.S. and Canada. Highest grossing tour to date at the time. I saw that show 4 times. Not because I'm that big a fan, but I was promotions director for the Toronto radio station 680 CFTR. We had exclusive presents rights for that tour, so I was there every night. They did 3 shows at the old exhibition stadium. And just so we understood the magnitude of it, about a month earlier, they sent us to Buffalo to see the show. Rich Stadium. So yeah, I saw it 4 times. Amusing side note. The Jacksons used a different opening act night to night, but one of the nights it was a sleight of hand magician. It's a true story. Can you imagine a stadium filled with well over 50,000 fans, and you have some guy on stage making a quarter disappear into the palm of his hand? What? Like some guy in the very back nosebleed seats is going, oh wow, where did it go? All in all though, it was amazing. It was really something to be there, to experience the massiveness of it all.
Now, from one of the most exciting and popular groups in musical history and the greatest concert tour of all time comes the most unique and entertaining Christmas gift ever offered, the Jacksons' official Victory Tour Video Music Watch. This amazing limited edition 5-function watch gives you the hour and minute, the day and date, and even has a seconds display. Plus, it has this flashing visual display of the fabulous Jacksons and plays the Jacksons' latest smash hit single, Body, from their triple platinum best-selling album and record-setting Victory Tour. It's the ultimate Victory Tour collector's item for Jacksons fans of all ages. They're only available for a limited time through this special TV offer at the once-in-a-lifetime price of only $19.99. But you must order now to receive your Jacksons watch in time for Christmas. Here's how.
By the early 90s in Michael Jackson, it seemed like it was a descent into madness and fueled by who knows what. The success, the money, the constant attention, the pressure, the demands, all of it. Either way, the stories were less and less about the music, but more about Michael Jackson's strange conduct. The skin lightening, first thought to be intentional, but then claimed as a skin disease which left his complexion blotchy. Michael Jackson used a lot of makeup to even out his skin tones. The suspected plastic surgery, his nose especially, looked completely different. There was the alleged drug use, the wacky Neverland Ranch, a brief marriage to Lisa Marie Presley. And then he married his nurse and dermatology expert, Debbie Rowe, who gave him 2 children, son Prince and then daughter Paris. He also had a third son later on, Blanket, with an unidentified surrogate. Remember when Michael dangled 9-month-old Blanket over a 4th-floor balcony in Berlin in 2002? To the shock and consternation of parents everywhere? It was one thing after another, and all of it in the shadow of these accusations of sexual molestation. Michael's 3 children, Prince, Paris, and Blanket, who now goes by BG, are involved in various levels of the entertainment industry and in upholding their father's legacy. Prince is a producer involved, as I said, in this latest Michael movie, and he's also a philanthropist. He co-founded the Heal Los Angeles Foundation. Get this, it's a nonprofit dedicated to tackling homelessness, hunger, and child abuse. Paris is a model, actress, and singer. The latter I just discovered recently. Her music is more indie folky than her father's high-energy, highly produced R&B, but I think she's pretty good. Prince and Paris's mother, Debbie Rowe, is still around. She's a breast cancer survivor, lives in California, rarely appears in public. BG is an award-winning filmmaker. All 3 of these children well supported with monies from the Michael Jackson estate. Though a lot of these funds are still tied up in IRS disputes, there's still plenty of money for these 3 kids and their homes, education, comfortable lifestyles, and so on. Noteworthy that despite Michael's outstanding successes, upon his death, his estate was $500 million in debt. Michael did own the Beatles catalog, which was sold to Sony for $750 million. His music continued to sell. Plus, money was still coming in from his overall name and likeness. Debt was wiped out, with money left over for the kids to live well. Note also that Michael's money is separate and apart from the Jacksons' money, controlled for years by Joe, and it's separate from Janet Jackson's considerable fortune. You know, even LaToya has a few bucks of her own stashed away. Michael Jackson seems to be a celebrity who's able to survive our recently acquired cancel culture. Why is that? Is it his body of work? Is it the fact that he's been dead for the last 17 years? Or is it just his massive public relations machinery that highlights only the good and grays out the suspicious and nefarious? Since the 90s, every time a new accusation would pop up, the righteous would rise up. Michael Jackson is canceled. Radio stations would ban his music, at least for a little while. Then slowly you'd start to hear Beat It creep back onto the playlist. I guess even the indignant got a dance. Of course, these days it's not that radio play even matters, but the bigger point. As I said at the beginning, both things can be true at the same time. Michael Jackson can be a talented cultural icon and a child abuser. Does the latter cancel out any contributions he might have otherwise made? For some, it does. For others, it doesn't cancel it completely. but it does diminish those other accomplishments. For all those crimes, Michael Jackson will always be diminished in my memory, like the baseball legend who was a racist, or the actor who did jail time for violent assault, or the golfer who was a serial philanderer. All of those things have to be part of their story. How much we care also has to do with degrees of separation. None of Michael Jackson's accusers are friends or relatives of mine or people that I know at all. If they were, it might mean more to me. I mean, I still empathize with their trauma. I disapprove, obviously, of the crimes committed. But then again, when Billie Jean starts to come on over the sound system, it's not like I walk out of the store in disgust. I'll never shop here again. Even if we are understanding of Michael Jackson's unconventional upbringing, then it becomes something that we can try and explain, but not forgive. And we deal with this individually, not on a mass hysteria level, which cancel culture wants it to be. And as far as this latest movie, Michael the biopic, given the bigger picture, I'm not sure we need a movie that only celebrates his life. It really serves no one's interest, except the financial ones of the Jackson estate. But it is their movie, bought and paid for, and therefore I guess they can tell any kind of story they want. But it's up to us to realize that this is not the definitive work on the subject.
There have been many disgusting statements made recently concerning allegations of improper conduct on my part. These statements about me are totally false. I ask all of you to wait and hear the truth before you label or condemn me. Don't treat me like a criminal. I am totally innocent of any wrongdoing, and I know these terrible allegations will all be proven false. Again, to my friends and fans, thank you very much for all of your support. Together, we will see this through to the very end. I love you very much, and may God bless you all. I love you. Goodbye.
Later That Same Life is written, voiced, and produced by Larry Fedoruk. Larry Fedoruk 37 at gmail.com. Subscribe to Larry's YouTube channel. Get automatic notifications with each new episode.